Hi guys, welcome to Redefined Gospel YouTube channel where we are thriving in Christ. This channel seeks to link the word of God to the contemporary times and ultimately ensure that we are thriving in Christ. In addition to being a faith-based content creator, I am a lawyer by profession based here in Kenya, and I believe as a child of God that I am called for to show excellence. So in whatever space I'm in, I believe in being excellent at it, and that's why I share legal tips regarding and what I get to learn as I go through my legal career and my law school journey. If you're new here and you don't know where I'm at, I have already finished my law degree and I'm currently in the process of completing my advocates training program at the Kenya School of Law so that eventually can get admitted to the bar as an advocate of the High Court of Kenya. So that's where I'm at. So if you're interested in all that kind of content, kindly do subscribe. Hit on the right button written subscribe, and when the bell appears, a bell will appear. Click on the option all so that you get all post notifications each time I upload. Naongeanga vizuri. Upload. If you're a returning viewer, hey, jameni, tumemba hu wimbo. Yeah, you don't watch if you've not subscribed. Subscribe. Thanks. Thanks. Okay. Na play too much. Let's get right into today's video. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about opportunities for law students that will enable them eventually to become competitive in the job market. I don't know how I'm going to title this on YouTube so that to make it short, but opportunities for law students. And if you dive into these opportunities, then your CV becomes more attractive, you become more marketable, and you actually get an interview. I did a video a while back. It's a while back when you are seeing this video, but it's technically last week. I'm in the process of batch filming content. But last week, not last week, but a while back, I put up a video about pupillage interviews for pupillage or internship opportunities at law firms, what they don't tell you. And I mentioned that I would really love to talk about how do you even get yourself an interview in the first place. So I will start off with this particular video where I'm talking about opportunities that are there for law students. So if you're in first year, second year, third year, fourth year, and I believe if you're at the Kenya School of Law, these are things that you can take advantage of. These are opportunities that you can engage in that will make your CV become attractive and will make you more competitive. One thing is for sure, all of us have gone through law school. By the time all of you are applying probably for a pupillage position or an internship position, all of you have gone through the 4 years. All of you probably are already admitted at the Kenya School of Law. All of you probably have almost similar honors as far as your graduation. So probably a first class or a second upper or a second lower. So then you're almost at the same, par. You're the same level, if I may put it that way. You are at the same level. And so what sets you apart? What will keep you apart? Because in some law firms, they get maybe hundreds or thousands of applications. So how do they sieve out? Most of the times, it's this other engaging in these opportunities that I will talk about. And I have, I think, a total of around 8 opportunities that you can explore that will give you an edge, will give you a competitive edge as you are looking for pupillage, as you are looking for internship positions, as you are getting into the job market. Because essentially, they will not expect you to have an associate position or have 3 years experience as an associate. But these are the things they will like, oh, I think this speaks of someone who's disciplined. I think this speaks of someone who's hardworking if they have gone the extra mile to do these particular things. And that's why in my video where I talked about 7 things I wish I knew before I joined law school, and I'm going to link all these videos that I'm talking about. In that particular video, I said, don't just be a library person, do more. And what I'll be talking to you about today will be what is that more? What is that doing more? So let's get right into the opportunities for law students to make them competitive in the job market. Let's get straight into the video. Number 1, and I am putting this as my number 1 because it serves a huge bulk of my CV, has this thing that I took up in first year, and that is MOOT courts. And I know moot courts are not everyone's cup of tea. I agree. But even if it's one moot court or two moot courts that you do at the end of your 4 years, or at the end of your Kenya School of Law period, that gives you an edge. It gives you a competitive edge. And I have to put up a disclaimer even as I go through every opportunity. And this disclaimer is that it doesn't mean because then you have done moot court you'll automatically get a place. That's not what I'm saying. But by virtue of having these additional things, they get you into the room in the first place. Because the first thing is, how do you even get into the room first? So these things actually get you into the room. So moot courts. Now, if you have not even joined law school, or you're just like interested in the legal field, that's why you normally watch my videos. Moot courts are a simulation of the real court, and there are various international and national competitions that actually take place. I have shared my moot court experience, my very first moot court experience in first year, first semester, and I'm going to link that video down below. I also shared my moot court experience when I went for the Praise Media competition in South Africa, Johannesburg, South Africa, and when I went to the Jean Pictet moot court competition in Obernai, France. And I'm going to link all those videos down below. It may give you some motivation. But you know what moot courts do for your CV is that they speak of someone who's diligent, because moot courts require more from you as a student. For instance, when I was doing my very first moot court competition, it was based on international law, public international law. And because it was based on that and I was in first year, I needed to study public international law beforehand on my own, so then I could make arguments in court, in the moot court. And so when an interviewer, and this is my imagination, as I said, vitu zingine tuna imagine, but you know, it's like, you know, logic, A plus, you know, 1 + 1 = 2. But if an interviewer, and I've even heard it from people who are on the other side, tell me that if someone sees that you have done moot court, it speaks of a lot of diligence and discipline. It takes a lot of discipline to do something that is more school related. It involves a lot of reading, it involves a lot of research, a lot of drafting submissions. It takes a lot of discipline for you to do that. So by virtue of you having that moot court competition, and by virtue not just doing moot court competition but also ensuring that you excel in those moot court competitions, it speaks a lot about you. It speaks a lot of discipline, it speaks a lot of hard work. So moot courts are just you know, one of the opportunities you need to grab. For me, I think predominantly my CV has, you know, quite a number of moot courts, and sometimes you get into interview rooms and all they ask you is just tell us about your moot court experiences, and you're there listing, you know, from moot court 1 to moot court 10, or you know, or more or less, you are there listing down and saying how then was it, how did it add value to you, what did you learn. And also these moot court competitions are a means to network. Let me tell you, if you become that student who's always on the library, it's great, studying is great, getting those grades is wonderful and great, and aim to get that. But if you become that student who doesn't enter into spaces where you're networking, it may be detrimental to you, because sometimes you won't even know of certain opportunities until you have networked, until you have friends across, you know, the universities. If you're here in Kenya, you have friends that you have networked with from Moi University, from University of Nairobi, from Kenyatta, from Strathmore. You have networked with all these other people. And you know, some moot courts even give you an upper edge. Like for example, when you went to South Africa, right now then I can have someone from the University of Johannesburg who we can network, who can actually tell me there's a teaching assistant job that is here and I think you're qualified, you can come over to South Africa. That's how you build networks, by getting into these extracurricular activities like moot courts. Then you network. For me, my very first I would call like internship, my internship, and you know what I actually did before I joined Kenya School of Law, which was a good, you know, a lucrative employment in an NGO, birthed out of a moot court competition, where then I met the director of that NGO, and you know, who saw me moot and who loved how I moot, and then the rest is history, and I'm going to share that experience way later. But that's how you network. Most of the people I found, even when I was doing my dissertation on oil and gas, I had a friend who I had known through moot court connect me to a friend they had met in a moot court in Ghana, who helped me get the Ghanaian laws. That's how you build network. And don't just think of network as your desk mate and great, build networks around, but think beyond. Let me tell you, Your network is your network. That thing is for real. Make sure you network, and that's how you network. And moot courts also help you to be that student who is analytical, who is able to see questions, exam questions, as problem questions, and you can be in a position to analyze that. I have heard that not everyone is built for moot court. I don't know. In terms of hard work, I believe anyone can just, if you set your heart to do something, you can actually do it. And it's not about ability. There are no people who are more enabled than others to actually engage in moot court competitions. So I don't buy into that school of thought. Maybe interest, you may just not be interested. So maybe other opportunities that I will talk about here will be for you. The second opportunity is to get other certifications and to get other professional qualifications. And I talked about this a little bit in my video where I talked about interviews, pupillage or internship interviews at law firms, what they don't tell you, and I'm going to link that video down below. And professional qualifications are many. For instance, for me, I have done the certified secretaries course, which is a course that enables someone eventually to become a certified secretary. And being a certified secretary means that you can actually do consultancy work for companies. You can help them with their compliance, with their legal issues. Most of the people who are employed as legal personnel in big companies, even when you talk about Safaricom, when you talk about all those companies, Safaricom, CSC, insurance, most of the legal personnel have done this particular course. So it gives you an upper edge, and it teaches you about the professional side of corporate secretarial practice. So if you're interested in that area, even if you're not interested, let me tell you, I feel like by the time you're in first year, second year, you don't really know what you want. So I wouldn't advise you like to stay until the moment you will know what you want. If there's an opportunity and there are resources for you to do that particular thing, just do it. You never know where it will help you. And so for the certified secretary's course, I got some questions based on the video I've talked about. It is not an expensive course. I would say it's not expensive. You find that one section, when I was doing it, was like 2,700 shillings for the exam, CASNEB exam. You can opt to either self-teach, or you can also opt to either you self-teach or you can actually go to a proper school. For me, the school I would recommend if you're in Nairobi, the CBD, would be Summit Institute. So you can also go do your research wherever you are, the colleges that are near you, find out background, do a background check to know if it's really worth the money that you're going to be paying, and actually get into that course. It has 6 sections. Some of the sections are heavily mathematical, but it's doable. And for the mathematical topics, I would really advise you to pay for a class so that then you're taught step by step, and it's easier for you to do the examinations. Once you get to section 6, then you can apply at the Institute of Certified Secretaries to actually become a certified secretary. And you know that can be even a side hustle. You can do consultancy work for companies. So that's one of the professional qualifications. You can also do a mediation course or an arbitration course. And I don't know a lot. I don't have so much knowledge about that, but you can go and check the Chartered Institute of Arbitrators. You can check the courses they have. Sometimes they have mediation trainings that are really short, and they're on the higher side. They're pricier than the certified secretary's course, but I believe it's a worth investment. So you can also do that. You can also do CPA or ACCA if you are intending to get into the commercial corporate, or those things intrigues you. Not necessarily if you're intending to do that, because sometimes, as I have said, you don't always have everything figured out, but you can actually do that. And then you can actually also do online trainings. So for instance, I remember a lecturer who's taking us through one of the topics of commercial transactions at the Kenya School of Law, who told us that like Harvard usually has some free courses. I'm going to link down all the free courses that you can get for as a law students, and that will be an additional qualification, an additional certification. We also have the Lucerne Academy for Human Rights. We have another one. I'm going to ask a friend of mine who went to South Africa for a human rights course. So there are all these things. Trust me, that gives you an upper edge. Most of the interviews that I've gone, when you are having conversations with the other people who you've been called with, sometimes you find some similarity in what you're doing. For instance, I remember getting to an interview room and I met most of the people we had mooted with, and it was so clear there was a possibility they were picking those people who are engaged in moot courts, and they were picking people who had done additional professional qualifications. So it is so important to make sure you take charge of your time. Law school, yes, is a lot. There's a lot that is going on, but I believe there's a lot of, especially in undergraduate, there's a lot of free time that you can take charge of, and you can actually sacrifice your time, and it will be for your benefit in the long haul. The third opportunity is actually working in a law firm, even when you're in school. If you have that capacity. For me, sometimes it becomes hard, based of the many things that I usually involve myself with. But if you can get a law firm, even when you're having, the first long holiday, you can choose to do the CS course, maybe in the evening, and then during the day, just even if you like Ushago, I'm sure in the nearby town, okay, that is community Shago, but in the nearby town, you can actually get a certain law firm, even if it's not big, and offer to volunteer. Some law firms, when they are taking people for pupillage, you will see like there's a pattern of them taking people who have actually worked in law firms before, because probably, not even probably, but because the work is almost similar. You may not be doing the same practice areas, but there's some things that you will obviously be acquainted with by the time you're getting into their law firm as a pupil, and so they prefer that because they don't want to train people, from square one. So there may be that also. So if you get an opportunity, do work in a law firm. Don't worry even if it's for free, especially if you're still in undergraduate. You're there for the experience, so go there, get the experience, do your very best, be excellent at it, and then now you will have in your CV that you worked in this and this law firm. I have had interviews where I've been asked, have you worked in a law firm? And sadly, because I went right into the NGO world after 4th year, then sometimes I would see on their faces, it's like they're like, should we not? So if you're in a position to get a job experience in a law firm, it counts. It surely does count. The other one, the fourth opportunity, or this is not necessarily an opportunity, but the fourth thing that makes you competitive is your grades. Don't be lied to that, grades will start mattering in 3rd year. I don't know about other schools. Like, for example, where I went at Kenyatta University, if you messed in 1st year, trying to recover you needed to do a lot of work to recover and to get at a particular point. So if possible, get a 2nd class honors upper division. Most of the interviews and most actually of the announcements that I have seen, most of the time they say they want someone who got a 2nd class honors upper division. And sometimes I have people actually from high school watching these law school videos. I realized a while back. So if you're in high school, make sure you get a good grade. That thing gets you in the first place. So there's some law firms who will say they want an A-. Don't be those, I know there's that temptation to feel like, oh, they want an A- and to feel like, they just want too much. But if you're in a position where you can actually work towards that, like haujapito tuna hiyo wakati, do that, get good grades. They get you inside in the first place. The other one is getting into clubs and societies. You can get into ISEC. I don't have a lot of information about ISEC, but I'm going to look for a link that I'll link down below. But for me, I joined the Kenya Model United Nations by virtue of my very first moot court competition, which was the ICJ. And eventually I used to go, for the ICJ. The first time I went as a participant, then I went as a judge, as a bureau member, and then eventually I was the president of the International Court of Justice. And for me, that opportunity, other than for the co-curriculum, most of the times it's networking, and then also it gives you a competitive edge. If you go and you have been at the ICJ, you've been the president of the ICJ, there's a competitive edge, and you have a competitive edge, and you actually get into those rooms in the first place, and those questions come up about your experience at the Kenya Model United Nations. So it is really important to get into this co-curricular. Don't look at them as time wasting, that you need to study. Nisawa, you'll study, you'll get that first class, but you'll just have that, and then there will be this other person who studied, got a first class, and it doesn't necessarily mean because you're in co-curricular you'll fail. Most of the times when you have so much going on for you, then you realize you don't have so much time in your hand, and you take care of your time properly. And also, if you get in, for example, in moot court, niko hapa na proponent wa moot court, but if you get, like, for instance, in moot court, then it enables you to be better at answering your questions in exams, and you become more analytical. You stop being too like book in a semi. You can look into situations and actually analyze them. So go beyond ukiuke Safaricom. Okay. And The other one is, if you are into leadership, if leadership is a strength for you, get into leadership positions. But I want to put a disclaimer: don't enter into leadership positions so much, like dive in so much that you even forget your studies. I have seen that trend where people get into leadership and then they end up forgetting their studies. They get into the power scheme and everything. Know yourself as you get into leadership. Leadership, being in a leadership position, speaks a lot about someone. It speaks a lot about people, that people can trust them with the agenda, with whatever agenda they are putting forward. People can actually trust them to lead. People are confident that they are diligent enough. It speaks a lot. So if you can get into leadership positions, do get into leadership positions. It may not necessarily be political, like congressman and and all that. If it's that, great, wonderful, but don't lose yourself. But you can also get into opportunities like, say you can get into opportunities like being, the president of the Moot Court Society, being the treasurer of the Moot Court, enter into leadership in the Christian Union. Leadership positions speak a lot. Don't shy away from being a leader. It grows you, it builds you, it helps you foster those interpersonal skills, which are very key even as you get into the job market. So don't shy away if that is a gift of yours. The final one, and I don't think it's an opportunity, but just a tip or something that gives you a competitive edge: do not have a lazy application. And a lazy application, I mean, don't just copy paste a cover letter. And what will help you not just copy paste a cover letter will be that you will have things in your CV. You have explored these opportunities, and because you have explored these opportunities, then your cover letter can speak to these opportunities. You can write in your cover letter that you have attended, Moot Court competitions both nationally and internationally. You can write that you were a member of ISEC, and this is what it enabled you to achieve. So don't be lazy in your application. Don't take each and every application that you're making as a separate application, and think through even as you apply, as you modify your CV. Sometimes make your CV to that particular job opportunity. And I think I'll speak in depth about, applications for law school, and maybe I may go through in depth, but way later. But I hope this video is helpful. If you have already crossed all those paths and there's an opportunity you're like, and umesahau hii na venye ni important, kindly do comment down below. If there's an opportunity you're like, wow, I didn't ever think of that, or an opportunity you're like, I'm definitely going and running with this, kindly do comment down below. I'll really appreciate. I hope this video was informative. I hope it wasn't obvious. Like in my head I was like, is it zinaka obvious? I hope if it was not obvious, niambie tu hapo. Niafam it wasn't obvious, up or down below on the comment section. If you liked this video, do give it a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed, do subscribe. Hit on the red button written subscribe. That is a way of supporting me, and it is totally free to subscribe. And then hit on the bell that will appear and click on the option all, so that you get all post notifications each time I upload. Thank you so much for watching, and I wish you all the best in your legal career journey, in your law school journey. I really hope you take advantage of the opportunities and be excellent in whatever space that you have been placed in. And that will be it for this week's video, and until next week, remember that God loves you a lot. I'll see you next week on Wednesday at exactly 12:30 p.m. and until then, bye bye.